The Fearless Podcast, in a time of deceit, telling the truth is a revolutionary act. All right, y'all. We are back. This is the Fearless Podcast, episode 64.
Episode 64. Second take.
Take two.
So,
click.
Hopefully the gremlins have been sorted out. The demons.
Are the daemons ever sorted out when it comes to
Never.
the technocratic stuff? So episode 64, we're going to be covering a couple articles, maybe some news type things, and talking about all the kind of cool stuff. Let us know if you like the new format where we're getting into our main topics first, and then we're filling in the background stuff. It's for those that aren't necessarily interested in the banter, and the jokes,
the drum beating,
all the stuff that we enjoy the most about the podcast. That's probably just for us. But yeah, so we're going to be talking about the new vice president selection of JD Vance, and we're also going to be talking about the war on food in Africa, the global war on food. It doesn't seem to be like an Americana thing. It definitely seems to be like a global technocratic thing. So we're going to be talking about that. Funny little anecdote right before the podcast started. Matt said right before we fired up the recording, and he was like, I didn't know that PERM stood for permanent. And you know, for any of y'all like not in the loop, like we're super like hip culture warriors. So we have our finger on the pulse of culture when it comes to like jeggings and yoga pants and all these different things. And I know that it's been kind of a thing for a year or two now with the resurgence of the mullet. There's been a resurgence of the permanent for dudes. So that's like I don't know if they've made like a conjunctive word out of it, like a dirtiment, or I like to call a turdiment.
I don't know.
Something like that. But yeah.
I looked up like the side effects on perms, and it's not good. Like literally like the second one or third one is like your hair could fall out. It's like, oh, great. Cool. Like
I could have curly hair, or it could all fall out,
or I could go bald. I'm like, just that being in there, like if there's any possibility, that just go ahead and like don't do it.
The perm chemicals smell like a cross between like
a monkey poop,
dung, and battery acid. It is definitely, when I smell that, I'm like, oh, I definitely want to rub that into my scalp
all over
and
my
leave
head.
it there for like an hour, because nothing but good can come from that. Like that will add value to my life if I rub battery acid infused dung all over my scalp.
Yeah. So how this conversation started was I went to our local barber, and we were getting our hairs cuts,
all of them.
And anyway, so there was a young man there. He was probably like 12 maybe, and his mom was there too.
Oh no.
And his mother walked in.
It's over, y'all.
He had this very sloppy hairdo.
You didn't the 12-year-old had a permanent.
Yeah. He had really sloppy hair. He was trying to do like, he was at the beginning stage of having a mullet in the back, and then like his floppy hair came almost over his eyeballs in the front. And his mom was like, we just got the perm.
They turned the frogs gay. Yep.
We just got the perm done or whatever. And
they turned the frogs gay.
And I just came over here. We haven't even washed the chemicals out of it or anything yet. And can you just like, do this certain design? It's right here on my phone.
How about new?
And it was like, I promise you, it was some type of Instagram photo that she showed of some gay guy or something. And anyway, so she was like, yeah, sure, I can do that. And so she gets her buzzers out.
Matt, wait,
Barber
pump
does.
The brakes. You're way too judgy, bro.
I know. And I say it all in a loving way. And so
that's your heart.
The barber gets out the little buzzers and goes zip zip. And she's like, oh, that's perfect. Great. And she's like, so do you like that? Oh, he's like, oh yeah, I love it. I'm like, there's literally no difference. Like, I don't even see any difference there. She's like, okay, that'll be $18. And then they leave.
Wow. I had no
I'm like, oh my
idea
goodness.
it was like a 12-year-old kid.
Yeah.
So this female person that you were assuming was his mother.
Yeah.
She was treating her 12-year-old son like a lopsa or something.
Yeah.
And that's interesting.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's where we are, y'all.
Well, yeah, when I walked into the barber shop, he had his knees up into his shirt, like in a weird position.
In the fetal position.
Yeah, yeah. And then he had his shirt covering all of his whole entire legs and everything. I'm like, wow.
Bless his heart.
That's kind of impressive. So, yeah.
Well, we're going to change the subject.
I think
we're
the
way too judgy.
perm was getting to his brain. Poor guy.
Unfortunately, poor guy.
Yeah.
It was. And, God gave him parents to protect him from all that stuff. But, this is the world we live in. And so,
yeah.
Say no to perms, y'all. All right.
Yeah, and drugs. So,
and chemicals. Okay.
Period.
So, I wanted to let y'all know about some background info on JD Vance that I thought was pertinent. And the reason I find so much curiosity, there's nothing new under the sun. And for those of you that are younger folk like my son here, they're completely unaware of the Ronald Reagan administration.
Totally.
Yeah. And, Ronald Reagan was a Democrat from California. And then, he magically became a conservative Republican, and he was running with a guy by the name of Barry Goldwater. And I'm not real good at extemporaneously extracting facts from my brain, but there's a autobiography on Barry Goldwater that has lots of interesting information in it. But for those of you that now know, Barry Goldwater was not Ronald Reagan's vice president. Ronald Reagan's vice president was George Bush Sr., who previously was the CIA director and had previous ties to many things, including the JFK assassination. And then so you have this conservative guy, and he's going to do all this great stuff. Another interesting fact was that one of Ronald Reagan's catchphrases was "Make America Great Again." So he ran on "Make America Great Again." So this isn't some kind of new Trumpism. This isn't Trump's idea. This is repackaged, political bread and circuses. And it's a lot like Back to the Future 8, which hasn't been written yet, but it is coming soon. It's like Back to the Future 8, where you can't have any good original ideas or have any traditional ideas of real value and traditional values. It has to be like postmodern, repackaged, technocratic. I don't want to get dark, y'all. I don't want to get dark. Yeah. We kid because we care, and you got to laugh because you'll cry. So we try to mix it up. This is a comedy show, by the way.
Very true.
So in case anybody is looking for medical information
or comical relief
or like health recommendations, you won't find it here. This is completely satire and comedy. And another hilariously humorous announcement: now that we are demonetized on YouTube for animal abuse, hey, we want to apologize for all
spider lives matter. Okay,
we want to apologize
especially
for all
poisonous
the animals.
Sorry, venomous ones.
We've never abused.
Not poisonous, they're venomous. I got schooled on that one. It's not poisonous, it's venomous.
Well, that's true.
Yeah.
So,
but it would be poisonous if you ate the venomous spider, though. So
possibly. I mean, you don't know that for a fact. If it would definitely be poisonous, and I think that was actually the snake reference and not this spider reference.
I know, but I'm just saying because
you're funny.
Yeah, it was a wolf spider.
Yeah.
So
they're neither venomous nor poisonous.
Oh, really? They're just neutral?
Correct. Yeah. I mean, they eat other insects.
Oh, I thought people have been bit by them though.
No, I think you're thinking of a brown recluse.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I do not think that wolf spiders bite humans.
Okay. I can't fact check you. I don't got a computer here, so okay.
But interestingly enough, y'all, we have passed 100,000 subscribers on YouTube
and have sustained it for longer than 24 hours.
And we're holding strong at like 3 days now. So
hey, personally, I'll take being demonetized. And if I get more views and my subscribers just are like normal and go up, I'll just stay demonetized. Like, just go ahead and call up YouTube and be like, hey, you can have your $200 a month.
Exactly.
Okay? You can keep that, or whatever.
Just don't throttle me and shadow
please. If anybody's watching the normal main channel, email us or drop a comment down below. Is there still ads on the channel? Because technically there should be 0 ads on the channel.
Technically there should be, but everything that I've heard from demonetized channels is they still have ads.
They still run ads.
Yeah.
Slimy snakes.
Yeah.
So anyway, very exciting news. It's been 8 years going on 9 years with the YouTube channel. We started in August 26th, I believe. It's either 26th or 16th of 2016. And yeah, it's been a fun one. And it's been ups and downs. And I forget how many times we've went to go cross 100,000 subscribers and never did.
Many. It's like crossing the Rubicon.
Yeah.
Many times.
And 100,000 is just like a good even number, because we had to keep telling people like, yeah, we got almost 100,000, or like, then we just started rounding up and be like, yeah, we have 100,000 subs. But you just always had that thing in the back of your mind, like, you really don't, like, you never really got that goal. And I'm pretty sure that was our goal for this year, was to hit 100,000 subs, and we wrote it down. Actually,
it was one of your written goals, and and you've achieved almost all of your written goals,
which is so hilarious, because
funny
we
too.
put it on there as a joke, because we're like, maybe this year we'll actually hit 100,000 subs, because I think last year we put that on our goal and we didn't hit it. We got really close.
Yeah.
But it just
several times.
Yeah. Like we were 100 subs away, and then we backtracked like probably 1,000 subscribers. And then we finally have caught up a little bit, but yeah, definitely a big shout out to everybody that's been subscribed and that has stayed subscribed and just has been very faithful.
Yeah. And
we have about like 1,000 people that are like super faithful, and just big thank you to all of y'all.
And they get our humor. They understand that we aren't judgy, whatever.
No,
we like to laugh and joke. And
relatively go with the flow for the most part.
And we're conventional, traditional people. And we still, what was funny in 1980 is still funny today. And so we can, we can still act like men, can still act like men, and women can still act like women, the way they were created, and everything will be great. And we don't have to be empathetic. We can still be sympathetic.
Yeah, we can be sympathetic.
But we don't have to be empathetic and all these other postmodern ideas. But
anyway,
let's jump into the article. This comes to you from Unlimited Hangout.
Yep.
This article by Whitney Webb, the man behind Trump's VP pick. It's worse than you think. Now, look, don't shoot the messenger. I didn't say it. She said it. I'm just reading the screen. So while J.D. Vance has his own controversies, his close connection to billionaire Peter Thiel, who is poised to have an unprecedented influence in a new Trump administration, should deeply unsettle every American who cares about freedom, privacy, and reigning in the surveillance state. Now, I want to bounce back to my Reagan analogy. Okay, so Barry Goldwater had a really great understanding of economics and the economy and improving the economy, right? But when they, them, and those, and the powers that shouldn't be, that select the nominees that we get to democratically vote for, even though we only ever get to vote for 2 people, one of 2 people, because any other vote isn't your voice. Any other vote is throwing away your vote or voting for the bad guy. So there's always one good guy and there's always one bad guy. And if you don't think that either of those wings of that foul bird represent you, if you don't vote for one of them, if you don't vote for Coke or Pepsi, then you're either throwing your vote away. If you don't vote, you don't get to complain. Well, if you don't vote for my guy, you don't get to complain, because if you vote for somebody that represents you, you're throwing your vote away. But voting matters. So you can see the control of the dialogue and how it's completely circular and there's no logic, ration, or reason to it. But Barry Goldwater wasn't going to work for the actor Ronald Reagan, just like if Donald Trump magically picked somebody like even Vivek Ramaswamy with all of his issues and problems with bioengineering and all these other stuff. Even with all of his issues, like he couldn't be the vice president. We needed somebody with a mega deep state technocratic connection that nobody's ever heard of, that I've never heard of. And I pay attention to this stuff. I'd never heard of this guy. And in the exact same way that magically all of a sudden, Ronald Reagan wasn't going to be allowed on the ticket unless he took the deep state's selection as his VP. Because you got the good, charismatic guy with a smile that can talk nice and recite his lines and everything. And then you got kind of like the checks and the deep state checks and balances. And I see in just a very clarion similarity here. And maybe this is a multiverse and this is just a reboot 2.0 or something like that. I'm joking a little bit, but anyway. After the recent revelation that Donald Trump had selected J.D. Vance, yeah, I think Donald Trump selected J.D. Vance. Not a chance. As his vice president, public attention not only turned towards Vance, but also to the billionaire Peter Thiel. Vance has been one of several prominent Thiel proteges whose profiles has risen in the recent years, with other proteges of the PayPal co-founder, including OpenAI Sam Altman and Andurill's Palmer Luckey. Recent reports have also noted that Thiel's first recruited Vance into his circle while Vance was still a student at Yale Law School. Shortly thereafter, Vance joined Thiel's investment firm, Mithril Capital, where he worked for 2 years before joining Revolution Ventures. Vance played a major role in Revolution's Rise of the Rest seed fund, whose major investors included Amazon's Jeff Bezos and the Walton family of Walmart. And this is the who's who of they, them, and those, and the billionaires and the technocrats. And this is that unsavory network. You know, when you think of the World Economic Forum and public-private partnership, and you hear Amazon and you hear Walmart, these are they, them, and those.
Yeah.
Whose boast longstanding deep ties to the Clinton family. Vance later launched his own venture capital firm, Naria Capital, in 2020, which was heavily funded by Thiel, as well as former Google CEO Eric Schmidt. Schmidt, a major Democrat donor, has been the guiding hand behind the Biden administration's science and tech policy, and has dominated the development of the AI policies of the U.S. military and intelligence communities, largely through his leadership of the National Security Commission on AI. As Unlimited Hangout previously reported, the Schmidt-led NSC AI promoted policies like the end of private car ownership and in-person shopping in the United States to advance America's adoption of AI as supposed national security imperative in the lead up to the COVID era lockdowns. Both Schmidt and Thiel are key members of the steering committee of the controversial closed door and overtly globalist Build-A-Bear conference. So if you're not familiar with the Build-A-Bears, it is not just a little kiosk at your local mall that is slowly dying, but if you learn more about the Build-A-Bear, now if I say the name of the group, we will get the old throttle action, so I will refer to them as the Build-A-Bears. Okay, Newsweek once called Schmidt and Thiel the two most influential figures at Build-A-Bear. And Peter Thiel, if he was a Build-A-Bear, he would have a pink bow. Okay. No, that's just another tip on Thiel. Thiel has donated heavily to Vance's political career, giving $15 million to Vance's successful Senate bid in 2022 election cycle in what was then the largest donation ever given to one Senate candidate. Yeah, basically guaranteed that he got elected. Thiel also joined Vance, a former never Trumper. There's lots of recordings of J.D. Vance smashing, cracking, and crushing on Trump and verbally stating himself that he was absolutely a never Trumper. I'm not sure what's changed. You know, people get to change their mind, you know. You do get to change your mind. And you really get to change your mind when it monetarily benefits you in a great way. On a visit to Trump's Mar-a-Lago, where Vance successfully won the former president's blessing, Thiel also connected Vance to other members of the so-called PayPal mafia, like David Sachs, who donated $1 million to Vance and hosted a fundraiser for him. Sachs, along with PayPal co-founder Elon Musk, were allegedly a key factor in Trump's selection of Vance as vice president, as they ran a secret lobbying campaign for Vance that also included media presenter Tucker Carlson. You know, and if you think that Trump chose Vance, you probably think that Reagan chose Bush, and he clearly didn't. So Thiel had been a major donor to Trump's 2016 campaign and served on Trump's transition team with other Thiel-linked figures like Trey Stevens, dramatically influenced Trump's pentagram appointments. Stevens' influence at the Trump pentagram also helped develop the military's relationship with Thiel-funded company Anduril, which was co-founded by Stevens and Thiel fellow Palmer Luckey. Before Anduril, Luckey developed the virtual reality system Oculus Rift, which was later sold to Facebook.
Oh, good.
Where Thiel then served on the board. So you continue to hear all of the they, them, and those, and Bezos and Zuckerberg and Bookface and all of the strangling technocracy that continues to censor and create and manipulate reality and augment reality and create your feeds so that you're getting all right white extremism, and it's carving you out, and this is all part of the panopticon. All right, Adderalls. Where do they come up with these names?
What a name!
I think that's another name for Satan. I'm sure it's probably,
if you did some type of research into it.
Andurils, unmanned drones, have also come to play a major role in Ukraine military operations. You've probably seen videos of that, of people getting exploded by these unmanned drones during the Russian-Ukraine conflict, as have other controversial Thiel-funded companies like Palantir, a CIA contractor, and Clearview AI, which use mainly photos posted on Bookface, another Thiel-backed company, to develop its Orwellian facial recognition database. These companies' close ties to the Ukrainian military may impact a second Trump administration's policies as it relates to American support for Ukraine, particularly if Thiel is slated to hold significant influence. Beyond Ukraine, this network of Thiel-funded defense companies are remaking the face of warfare and slowly but surely replacing human decision-making with AI. wow, that's great. I mean, what could possibly go wrong there? I mean, they've taken all of the war killing, and now humans don't have to kill; they just get to die.
Yeah.
So that's really good for the guys that like to make war, and really bad for the rest of us. But what happens when you run out of people to kill? I don't know. But while these ties should be unsettling on their own, the potential influence of Teal on the upcoming Trump administration should concern every American, regardless of where they fall on the political spectrum. Most of them might fall on the autistic spectrum, but it's a possibility because that's the way politics is now. It's very, very dialectic, and it's very cringy. It's very tribal. And it's insane. And you can't have a normal conversation, because if you question anything in someone's paradigm, you are immediately the opposite. So like if you question anything about the Republicans, which is really strange because now you're hearing more about the uniparty, right? And you hear more people lumping the left and right together, but somehow they still make this dialectic flip when it comes to Trump, even when he picks some deep state cutout like JD Vance, and he's still like this outsider that's going to drain the swamp and lock up Hillary Clinton. And he's going to release Julian Assange. Oh, wait a minute. That already happened. Can't release Julian Assange now. Well, hopefully, maybe he'll release Russ Ulbricht. That would be nice, but we'll see. We'll see. Fat chance. Well, these ties should be unsettling on their own. The potential influence of Teal on the upcoming Trump administration should concern every American. Teal's information awareness. While Peter Thiel has long marketed himself as a libertarian, his track record from PayPal only has revealed him to instead be an architect of modern surveillance state and a successor to the neoconservative cabal that once tried but failed to do the same. During PayPal's earliest days, Thiel and his colleagues went around to various government agencies, including intelligence agencies, to see how they could best tailor their product to win government support and contracts for their products and services. After leaving PayPal, Thiel would follow a similar path in creating another company, Palantir. Palantir is the engine on which the surveillance state runs. And soon after Vance was announced as Trump's vice president, it was reported that Palantir's co-founder, Joe Lonsdale, as well as Palantir itself, were backing a Trump-Vance super PAC called America PAC. That sounds great. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to post this article for you. I'm going to highly encourage you to read it. This isn't my opinion. This is Whitney Webb's opinion and her research. And it is very documented, and it is very well sourced. So, I mean, it is what it is. And you know, it's super concerning. If there was any hopium at all, you would think that if you were going to create this dialectic where, you know, we had this political messiah that would actually kind of pull off this. I don't know if Trump was speaking at some religious organization thing, and he literally said, I should have cued it because I really did want to play that about, look, Christians, I'm a Christian. Look, Christians, you only have to vote once, and then I'm going to fix it. You'll never have to vote again. And he literally said that out loud to people, and they clapped. And that's sad.
Yeah.
And and it's wild. I can't, you know, it's one thing. It's one thing to be genuine, and it's another thing to be that. But yeah, I just can't buy it, y'all. And
yeah, it's definitely bread and circuses. Definitely.
It's pretty wild. It's pretty wild. But yeah, I'll post that article below. And if what do you want to do now, Matt? Do you want to jump into the next article, or what do you want to do?
We could do around the farm.
Okay.
Real quick.
Okay.
And just give an update on
What's
that.
going on around the farm?
So around the farm, there's been some great news actually around the farm. And like mixed with bad news too. So I don't think I ever talked about it on the podcast, but our John Deere tractor has been like the best tractor ever. It's like a 1990 something.
An old John Deere. It's not a woke John Deere.
Yeah, it's not a woke one.
Pre-woke.
It's pre-woke. And it's very...
It's nothing sacred.
I know, right? So it's super, super base. So there's no like any fancy digital...
And not base
anything.
like the new hip kid speak. Like
no.
Base like no frills. Base.
Yeah, base like that.
Not based.
So anyway,
please, Lord, come quickly.
Yeah, right. So anyway, it's been a great tractor. We've had it for, man, probably 6 years now. 6 years, 7 years now. Quite a while, and have had very little problems with it. But anyway, so we have probably bush hogged well over 100 acres with it. Well over 100 acres with it.
Oh yeah. Very easily.
Possibly a couple hundred acres with it. So anyway, that is a lot of strain on your PTO shaft. And anyway, so about a couple weeks ago, we hooked up the brush hog and we started bush hogging again. And the PTO clutch that controls that whole thing pretty much is totally worn out. We had our mechanic come out. You can adjust it. He fully like tightened it up as much as you can go with it, with the adjustment on there. And it still was just like slipping, So anyway, the rest of the tractor is fine. So anyway, big praise the Lord, we got the tractor insured by Texas Farm Bureau, and they have been incredible.
Hey, y'all, shameless plug. I mean, this isn't sponsored, and it probably never would be sponsored.
Would love to be sponsored
by Texas Farm Bureau.
We should reach out.
But I deal with them a lot on a business level, which is why I have all my insurance with them. And they insure our homes,
everything.
They insure our property, they insure our cows, they insure our vehicles, they insure our side-by-sides.
The brush hog.
They insure our tractor and brush hog.
Very, very short story, but we hit a big stump with the bush hog, right? We called them up and they were like, okay, yep, just take it to John Deere and whatever it is, it's a made in Italy bush hog, like a beast mode bush hog. But the shear pin, for some weird reason, didn't shear. And so it absolutely destroyed the top motor or whatever. So it was $2,500, close to $3,000 in repairs. And they, no fuss, no muss, and our deductible was $2 something for that.
Yeah, $250.
And anyway, so I called him up and I talked to Mama. I was like, well, it is insured. Let's see if they would cover something like that. And
crazy.
Yeah, they were like, yep, it's insured. I talked to John Deere before calling them just to see the price on it. And they were like, if everything goes perfect, we have to pull the tractor in half and to get to the PTO clutch plates and everything. And he said, normally when you're doing something like that on a little bit of an older tractor, normally you want to go into the transmission and also just check on everything in the transmission, since you already got the tractor in half, and just make sure everything's looking good in there. I think he said the transmission clutch, if I'm not mistaken, just to make sure that's not worn or anything like that. He said, if everything goes perfectly, $5,000. And I was like, man, that's a lot of money to put into an older tractor.
Yeah, and in perspective, right? I paid $10,000 for the tractor and the brush hog 7 years ago, and we've already rebuilt the brush hog for $2,800. And
yeah,
if I took the brush hog money with the repair, yeah, I could have easily. But the other thing, fast forward 8 years, I couldn't even come close to buying our tractor and brush hog now for $10,000.
Is a 65 horsepower tractor.
Like $20,000.
It would be probably closer to 25,000 if you were going to buy it like barely used, So anyway, so we're like, dang, that's a lot of money. So what we actually ended up doing before we called the insurance is we were like, we should check into some of these DR pull behind brush mowers, and we're going to be making several videos on this thing.
Really?
Testing it out, seeing if it's
you heard him, y'all.
up to snuff.
Hold his feet to the fire.
I know. At bare minimum shorts, but I would really love to make some real long form videos because there's 0 on YouTube of this thing.
Right, exactly.
You know, so DR, if you're listening, they literally don't ever sponsor anybody or give anybody anything for free. So we had to buy it. But anyway, so
thanks.
Yeah. So anyway, yeah, that's coming. So that was awesome. So that was like a plan B. If the insurance wasn't going to cover the tractor, we're like, look, we can still pick up hay and everything with the tractor. Just, we ain't spending $5,000 on that tractor. Like, we'll just save that money, ride her till she dies, and then put it into the next tractor or whatever. So, or just pick up a little tractor for $5,000 with no front loader or anything. It'll just be the dedicated bush hog tractor, something like that. But anyway, so we called up our insurance and she was like, yeah, that should totally be covered. They came out, took some photos of it, and they're like, yeah, just go ahead and take it to John Deere, and whatever it is, it's going to be covered. So that was a big praise the Lord. Big blessing. Yeah. And our deductible is only $250. So
yeah. Yeah. Texas Farm Bureau is incredible. So if you are local Texas,
if you are starting a homestead, get insurance on stuff because you're going to, especially expensive stuff, because it will break. And when it does break, it will always break in the most inconvenient time when you're going through like a harder time with money or something like that, or fill in the blank. And it is.
Well, yeah. And Texas Farm Bureau is exclusively one of the only companies that
will do that.
Yeah. A farm, ranch, ag, centric insurance.
It's awesome.
So I don't even know if other insurances, if other carriers will even do that kind of stuff. No. But yeah, it is a huge blessing.
Yeah. Anyway, so there's some free advertisement for Texas Farm Bureau. Other than that, going around the farm, keep trying to keep it short.
We do want to announce our next meetup, which is this Saturday, August 3rd, 10 to 12 at Bob Wells Nursery at Sorella Farm in Mineola, Texas.
Potluck.
It's going to be a potluck. So bring your grub.
Yeah. If you want to eat food there, we advise bringing food.
Yeah. It's going to be a mutual exchange of food.
Yeah.
And so we're looking forward to it. Last time it was a lot of fun.
There's going to be a lot of carnivores there. There was last time.
There will be lots
so
of
if you are
there.
trying to think of like, what should I bring? Something meat related. Something that will fill people up.
Something ruminant animal.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, yep, that's around the farm pretty much. Oh, horse trailer update. It's almost done. James has been working his butt off on that thing. And we went to Home Depot, hopefully for the last time.
Oh, boy.
Yeah. It was only $100.
No such thing.
Yeah. It will definitely not be the last time for that trailer. For that project. There's always like that one last thing. And he picked up like some of the trim and stuff for that. But he's been working like a crazy madman on that thing.
He's a madman.
And it you can see it too. So I'm going to have to do an update video on that too. Probably this evening.
Sweet.
He'll have some more stuff done on that. And that's around the farm pretty much.
I got another article.
Okay.
But before we jump into our next article, I'm going to do verse of the day. The verse of the day comes to you from 2 Corinthians 4, 8 through 10. 2 Corinthians, it's a whole ball game.
There you go.
So here we go. 2 Corinthians chapter 4, verse 8. We are troubled on every side, yet not distressed. We are perplexed, but not in despair. Persecuted, but not forsaken. Cast down, but not destroyed. Always bearing about in the body the dying of the Lord Jesus, that the life also of Jesus might be made manifest in our body. So there's lots of nutty, crazy stuff going on. And you can't just close your eyes and bury your head in the sand and say, there are no weeds, there are no weeds. Mm-hmm. So we recognize what's going on, and we recognize Christ is King. He's coming back, and he's going to square everything up. Mm-hmm. And we are to occupy till he comes. So that's what we're doing. And occupy means doing his work. Occupy means being involved in your children's lives, training your children, raising your own food, being part of the process, not farming out the process, not divvying it out and exchanging it for fiat currency, whether it is, through some government school or private Christian school, or farming your food out to Walmart or what have you, right? You got to be in the process, part of the process. You have to participate. It's the only way that you will be informed enough to make an impact and to make a difference.
Yep.
And just like you need to meet people in real life and talk to people in real life. This is why we are also instituting the local meetups. We can't just be so virtual that because not if, but when they clamp down on things and censor things and create things and disappear things. Like, we could be disappeared down the rabbit hole or down the memory hole in a heartbeat, And so that's why, but in light of all that, we aren't troubled by it because Christ is King. So just a reminder, as we go to our next article, war on farmers. We always like to, since this is kind of like our thing and it's something that we do, that we're interested in, we always talk about the control of food. And I do like to point out that this isn't like a local issue. This isn't a state issue. This isn't a national issue. This is a global issue.
Yep.
And when you see this global trend, it does tend to reinforce this whole one world government, new world order, and it really makes when the entire world conforms in lockstep. Maybe like 4 years ago, like we watched that lockstep and we watched this war on food in lockstep.
Yeah.
Maybe there's something to this like technocratic control grid and this, maybe there's something to all of it. War on farmers, World Bank, what do they got to do with food? World Bank sowing seed colonialism in Africa. This is brought to you by the Off Guardian. In Kenya, a law was passed in 2012 that prohibits farmers' rights to save, share, exchange, or sell unregistered seeds. Farmers could face up to 2 years in prison and a fine of up to 1 million Kenyan shillings, equivalent to nearly 4 years' wages for a farmer. However, in 2022, Kenyan smallholder farmers launched a legal case against the government, called for reform of the 2012 seed law to stop criminalizing them for sharing seeds. Have you ever heard of anything so obscene and absurd? There's nothing more natural than a seed-bearing plant bearing seed. There's nothing more normal and more natural than saving that seed. You have the plant, it bears the fruit, it bears the seed. You save the seed in preparation for the following year because that is just wisdom. And that's what we have been doing for thousands of years.
Yeah.
But now that we have microbiology, which for those of you that don't know, microbiology is a postmodern new world post-truth term for eugenics. So, and if you don't know what eugenics is about killing people, and it's about favored races and killing the least favorite races, asked Margaret Sanger et al. Okay, so microbiology does the same thing, same people. They just, the word eugenics got ugly, so they kind of needed to scrub it. So they rebranded it and called it microbiology. So now microbiology allows us to genetically modified seeds and patent their DNA. And then you hold the copyright patent on biological organisms like plants.
Crazy.
And then you can criminalize the sharing of seeds. And they're doing this in America. Bear Santo, and they, them, and those, and the usual suspects do this stuff. Agroecologist and environmentalist Claire Naski-Akello says that in legal terms, the sharing and selling of indigenous seeds is a criminal offense in Kenya. In effect, Kenyan Seeds and Plant Varieties Act demolishes self-sufficiency among smallholder farms whose use indigenous seed to grow food. Writing on her website, she says that the legislation seeks to create a dependency on multinational companies by smallholder farms for seeds, thus giving an upper hand to these firms that continue to steal biological resources from local communities with a profit-driven mindset. It is, in effect, a move designed to impoverish smallholder farmers and lock them out of farming. And this is absolutely no different than here in America, what big ag and big bio and what has been happening here with big soy and big corn. And their sole intent is to envelop everything to, grow fuel corn instead of food corn. And you're talking to a guy that doesn't even eat corn anymore. But this is still an attack on food. And this is the same playbook that they're playing here in America. Gates, Rockefeller, and big agribusiness. We were just reading this JD Vance article, and how many times, you read something and it's just like usual suspect, suspect, usual suspect.
All in bed.
Oh, but not JD Vance. He is somehow some pillar of purity or something. Yeah. Gates, Rockefeller, and big agribusiness, the Alliance for Green Revolution in Africa, AGRA initiative funded by Gil Bates and Rockefeller Foundations, has been intervening directly in the formulation of African. Oh, they're doing this to help people, by the way. I should have said that. Yeah. They're intervening directly in the formulation of African governments' agricultural policies on issues like seeds and land, opening up African markets to U.S. agribusiness. What business does U.S. big ag have in Kenya?
Yeah.
Around 80% of African seed supply comes from millions of small-scale farmers recycling and exchanging seed from year to year. But AGRA is supporting the introduction of commercial, chemical-dependent seed systems. So this is like your Roundup Ready products.
Yep.
Enabling a few large companies to control seed research and development, production, and distribution, so we can feed the world.
Yep.
Since the 90s, national seed laws reviews have taken place, sponsored by USAID and the G8, along with Gates and others, opening the door to multinational corporations' involvement in seed production. Regulations and seed certification laws are often brought in by governments on behalf of industry that are designed to eradicate traditional seeds by allowing only stable, uniform, and novel seeds on the market, meaning corporate seeds. These are the only regulated. How absurd, y'all. Postmodern, regulated. These are the only regulated seeds allowed, registered, and certified. Oh, but they're certified. Oh, wow. It is a cynical way of eradicating indigenous farming practices at the behest of corporations. Also, notice how this doesn't involve in any way anything that is truly regenerative or actually caring for the planet or actually truly green and regenerative. Notice how this all involves multinational corporations and chemicals and pesticides. I mean, what could possibly go wrong? And it also involves billions of dollars, and it involves billions of dollars being extracted from Kenya and going into the pockets of big ag. Whereas prior to that, the Kenyans were getting along great by themselves. Like before you wanted their 8-year-olds to extract cobalt with their fingertips and all that stuff. This is a total Belt and Roads. This is Cecil Rhodes. This is the whole, it's tragedy and hope. And it's the same playbook over and over again. Thousands of seed varieties have been lost, and corporate seeds have increasingly dominated agriculture as peasant farmers have been prevented from freely improving, sharing, or replanting their traditional seeds. It amounts to the privatization of a common heritage. Another thing, y'all, is the heritage seeds actually work in their zone and environment, and these pesticide, chemicalized seeds don't. And they pollute the soil, and they break the natural cycle, and they increase the pest population, and it will become pestilence. They'll start using this, and then the locusts will be a factor of 10. They are creating a mass extinction, mass devastation event, because they mucks, and they just so happen to make billions of dollars when they mucks, and a lot of people get to die in the process, and nobody gets helped in the process.
No,
except for Bill Gates and the Rockefeller Foundation, and their non-profit organizations grow by hundreds of billions of dollars. Wink, wink. The privatization and appropriation of intergenerational farmer knowledge embodied by seeds whose germplasm is tweaked and stolen by corporations who then claim ownership. Microbiology. Seed has been better living through science. Trust the science. Seed has been central to agriculture for 10,000 years. Whoa.
That's a long time.
And supposedly, everything evolved and everything was cool. But now we got stomachs.
Yeah.
Now we got stomachs. Seeds have been handed down from generation to generation. Peasant farmers have been the custodians of seeds, knowledge, and land. The corporate control over seeds is also an attack on the survival of communities and their traditions. Seeds are integral to identities because in rural communities, people's lives have been tied to plants, harvesting, seeds, soil, and the seasons for thousands of years. Yeah, and in many cultures, seed was a currency, and that's another reason why you want to capture it, is you want to extract all the wealth. The privatization of seeds is a global issue, of course. In Costa Rica, for example, the battle to overturn restrictions on seed was lost with the signing of a free trade agreement with the U.S. Why do we have to be involved in every despicable, disgusting thing, every extraction of wealth, every demolishing of anything good, righteous, and holy, like the U.S.? No, there's a reason everybody hates us. And I realize, and I'm thankful and blessed for being here.
Absolutely.
And if it wasn't for my government, but like, we just have to destroy everything we're associated and affiliated with. I mean, just look at men and women in America. We've effectively even destroyed the notion of that.
Yeah.
Just look at the Olympics. Don't look at the Olympics.
No,
and I
please.
didn't,
No.
But yeah, exactly. Seed laws in Brazil has created a corporate property regime for seeds, which effectively marginalized all indigenous seeds that were locally adapted over generations. This regime attempted to stop farmers from using or breeding their own seeds. What we're seeing is a drive towards the corporate commodification of knowledge and seeds, the erosion of farmers' environmental learning, and the undermining of traditional knowledge systems, and an increase in farmers' dependency on corporations, and a complete devastation of the landscape. I mean, this will completely decimate over the course of 10, and it takes a while to kick in, but this will create super strains of super pests, and this will devastate and completely eradicate the soil. Such dispositions and dependency are sold by Gates and the agribusiness sector as meeting the needs of modern agriculture. What it really means is a system adapted to meet the demands of global agri-capital, institutional investors like BlackRock, and corporate-controlled international markets and supply chains. Meanwhile, these vested interests try to depict Africa as a basket case in need of intervention. Like y'all been doing good for the last, 5,000 years, but we need to intervene and make some money and help y'all out.
Didn't this happen before? And then like, there's
this
like
happened many
like
times.
a big flood wiped out and like killed everybody. Didn't that happen?
Oh yeah. That happened a while ago. Yeah, that happened a while ago. Very similar.
They were monkeying.
Was lots of genetic monkeying.
They just kept monkeying, and
they effectively like genetically destroyed everything
except for like one family.
And then one family, and maybe that's the Texas boys. I don't know. No, I think there's more than one of us.
I think so. Yeah,
but I do feel like I'm on an arc,
and
I feel like the rain is coming.
Mm-hmm.
But remember the verse of the day, y'all. We laugh because we don't want to cry. It's a convenient smokescreen that diverts attention from the political economy of food and agriculture, not least how contrived debt traps and predatory lending practices led African nations into succumbing to structural adjustment programs, turning the continent from being a net food exporter into a net food importer, undermining indigenous crops diversity, and with it, food security and food sovereignty. Bam. Professor Walden Bello and John Furrer argue that in this respect, the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund and the World Trade Organization are key to understanding the process involved in destroying African agriculture. Neoliberal shock therapy left poor African farmers more food insecure and governments reliant on unpredictable aid flows. Bello and Furrer argued that the social consequences of structural adjustments, cum agricultural dumping, were predictable. The number of Africans living on less than $1 a day more than doubled to 313 million people between 1981 and 2001, or 46% of the whole continent. The role of structural adjustments in creating poverty, as well as severely weakening the continent's agricultural base and consolidating import dependency, was hard to deny. And now we have Agra stepping in to apparently save the day.
Mm-hmm.
But what we have seen thus far with that initiative is more of the same, according to the Institute for Agriculture and Trade Policy.
Yep.
So what I'll do as well is I will I'll link this article in the show notes as well, so you can finish reading this. But just wanted to bring those two thoughts and ideas to you. We love and appreciate y'all, and we enjoy the feedback. If you are listening to us over on the Fountain app, we can interact over there. Y'all can leave comments, and you can drop some sats, and you can promote us over there, and we can actually we can interact on the Fountain app. So if you have any questions, you can ask questions over there. As always, you can ask questions down below if you're on Rumble or YouTube or wherever you're at, and we will get back to you.
Yeah. But in whichever podcatcher you're listening to this on, remember to drop a review. It always helps just to be able to push this out to everybody out there.
Good call. Yeah, we're getting traction. And I just want to remind you of our meetup on August 3rd, this Saturday from 10 to 12. So come check us out IRL. We love hanging out with y'all and getting to talk.
Also, there is still 3/4 of a beef left. So if anybody is interested in some grass-fed grain finished beef, it is for local pickup only in Northeast Texas at the Atwoods in Mount Pleasant, Texas. And it'll be done in probably about 4 to 5 weeks from now. So if you are interested in that and you want to get a deposit down on that, so then you're all set and ready to go ahead and email us at countrytexasboys@gmail.com. That is countrytexasboys@gmail.com, and just say what you want. We have 3/4 of a cow left. We normally sell wholes, but there's only 3/4 left. So there'll be a half and a quarter, or if you want just 1/4, So anyway, and it is for half a cow, we're doing $9 a pound. And then for quarters, we do $10 a pound. And that comes with all the organs, all the different cuts of meat. But for more information, just go ahead and email us. And yeah, we can get you hooked up.
CountryTexasBoys@gmail.com. Mm-hmm. And I don't think we have to do a health check. No. Keep an eye on the YouTube channel. Faith and I are going to be doing this carnivore program. It's like a 30-day challenge thing. And we're going to be tracking it and monitoring it and keeping you all up to date and posted over on the channel.
Going more hardcore.
More hardcore. We're getting some carnivore coaching.
Gonna do some
hardcore. Gonna do some fun stuff to keep it real.
There you go.
All right, y'all. We love and appreciate y'all. And remember, y'all, stay fearless, my friends.